Dan Bardell, where would you say that Aston Villa rank amongst the European elite? Because if you break it down, Arsenal, PSG, massive clubs, they've never won the European Cup. So where are you putting Aston Villa?
I wouldn't say we're top tier, but obviously when you've won the trophy, you carry some weight and you do carry some history. I think we're probably still a long way off where we would like to be, but under this manager now, we're on the right track. And if he stays for a long time, like I think he will, I don't see any reason why Villa can't be regulars in the Champions League and hopefully one day challenge for it. You know, you look at Spurs; they got to the final, didn't they? They had a run where they were consistently in the latter stages of the Champions League and qualified. I think Villa want to take that. That's the next step for Villa.
Obviously, we've got Villa Park just behind us. My God, is she beautiful? She looks great. But do you think that's going to be home to one of the best atmospheres in the Champions League this season?
Absolutely, because you saw with Newcastle a little bit last year, the games they had at St James's Park. They'd waited a long time for that kind of football at their ground. Villa fans have waited even longer. There's Villa fans, who the last time they've seen Villa in a league competition was when they were winning the league and winning the European Cup. People like me, I'm nearly 40. I've never seen Champions League football, so I think the atmosphere, just based on that, will be incredible. But Villa Park under the lights is a special place anyway, and you factor in some of the big teams that are coming in as well. Bayern Munich, Juventus, Celtic all come into Villa Park. They're all special games for varying reasons, and I just think the atmosphere is going to be incredible.
Do you think the team, the other side of the city, the blue half of the city, should be coming together and supporting Aston Villa like a Birmingham collective, because this is a special night?
No, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't be doing it. They're doing well in League One at the moment, but there is levels to this game, and probably the gap, bigger Blues fans would say this themselves, the gap between Villa and Blues is as big as it's ever been. They'll hope to close that gap under the new ownership, but they're not going to want us to do well in the Champions League. That's the last thing they'd want, and vice versa. I wouldn't want that for them either.
Unai Emery in his press conference yesterday alluded to that Aston Villa need to be at this level. Let's face it, Aston Villa are a massive club. Do you think this is just the beginning in your European Champions League journey? Because of course you were in Europe last year, but Champions League's just different gravy, isn't it? Do you think this is the starting point for you being a mainstay in the Champions League?
If we don't do it under this manager, we'll never do it, because he is a Champions League quality manager. He's a manager that season upon season, wherever he's been, he's operated playing European football, and it was the first thing he referenced when he got the job at Villa, and he talked about wanting to take Villa to the top, and he's done it in 18 months, which is absolutely incredible. I think as long as he's here, there's a chance that season upon season Villa can play Champions League football. I'm not going to say that they're going to win the Champions League, but there's no reason why they can't qualify fifth, might get Champions League football. There's no reason why Villa can't consistently be around the top 4 and top 5 under this manager.
How scared are you for tonight? Michael Olise, Harry Kane. Is there apprehension, or do you actually feel like you could do Bayern Munich tonight?
I'm not scared. I don't think there's any reason for Villa to fear anyone. We saw last season when they're at it, they beat Manchester City at Villa Park, they beat Arsenal at Villa Park, they beat Arsenal twice last season. I think we might still be the only team that's beaten them.
I think this year, yeah.
Yeah, in 2024, Villa are the only team that have beaten Arsenal in the domestic game. So Villa don't fear Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are a team that have played Champions League football every season. This is what they do, so they've got more experience. But in a one-off game at Villa Park, there's no reason why Villa can't beat Bayern Munich, and I would back us to do it tonight. I really think we'll win.
Well, obviously, Carlos and Pau Torres are going to have their work cut out for them. What's going to be the key for keeping Harry Kane quiet?
I think in a weird way, Harry Kane is the kind of striker that might suit Torres. I think we play a high line, obviously Harry Kane drops deep. When there's a striker that likes to get in behind, that's where we've had problems in recent weeks. I actually funnily think that Harry Kane, the way he plays the game, that's the kind of striker that will suit Pau Torres. But we've got to be at it, because he only needs a sniff and he'll score. But we've got weapons of our own. They're not the best defensively. Bayern Munich, I see ways in which Villa can get at them. So they're not switched on. Villa have got plenty in their armoury as well to score goals.
I know you mentioned the 18 months in Unai Emery and getting to this level. The last decade has been weird for Villa. You think about losing in the playoff final to Fulham, bouncing in between the Premier League and the Champions League. I had to mention it. I had to mention it. Tom Kearney obviously slipping it through John Terry's legs, which were complete jelly at that point. But that's a story for a different day. But when you think over the last decade, did you ever think you were going to get back to this level?
There was a point where I didn't think we were going to get out of the Championship. We were only there for 3 years, and we saw back in the day how long Leeds spent in the Championship and how difficult, I know when that's League One, and how difficult it is to get out. So there was a period where you didn't know what was going to happen to this club. You were coming here week in, week out, knowing you were going to lose that season that we went down. And to think in less than 10 years, or 10 years, they've got themselves from that to this, I can only really put it down to the owners and the manager. You know, I think Villa have put the building blocks in place over the last 5 years with a lot of what they've done with the infrastructure and bringing players in, but they didn't have that man to knit it all together. They've brought in the perfect manager. He is the perfect manager. I would not change him for anyone in world football.
That guy scared me. Guy on the bike just came over with a hoodie on, shouting some obscenities, and it just made me jump. And I don't really get scared.
Jumped as well.
You jumped as well?
I did.
Well, hopefully that's the only time that Dan Bardell gets scared this evening, when Aston Villa welcome, what? Well, how many Champions Leagues they won? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bayern Munich. It's just, you know, you stop counting after 1, 2,
We're all
3.
European Cup winners here. On
AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.